This very much is Lily's story, and Lily's a person who leads with empathy, and in that she wants to understand why everybody is the way that they are.
Blake Lively, once the golden girl of Hollywood, known for her effortless charm, impeccable style, and seemingly untouchable reputation, now finds herself at the center of a controversy so explosive that it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about her. Fans who have long admired her polished public persona are struggling to align the recent onslaught of allegations, legal filings, and leaked documents with the image they grew to love on screen and at red carpet events. At the core of this unfolding drama is Blake's involvement in the film It Ends With Us, a project directed and driven by Justin Baldoni. What was once anticipated as another heartfelt adaptation of a best-selling novel has unexpectedly sparked a firestorm, unraveling into a series of legal disputes, behind-the-scenes conflicts, and a barrage of evidence that challenges many of Blake's previous statements. From the start, Blake shifted the blame for the negative media attention onto Justin, asserting that he was the mastermind behind the rumors that depicted her as cold and self-absorbed. She claimed he had deliberately spread these narratives and engineered a hostile media campaign to damage her reputation. Simultaneously, she painted herself as a hapless victim caught in the machinations of Hollywood politics. Initially, this portrayal won her considerable public sympathy, with many fans finding it believable that the intricate power plays within the studio system could compel a director or producer to undermine a major star. However, soon after, a steady stream of leaked messages and internal memos began to surface, suggesting an alternate narrative, one that raised the possibility that Blake herself might have been the catalyst behind the very controversies she decried. Early interviews for the film were the first indication that something was off. Rather than exuding the upbeat, collaborative energy usually seen with new releases, Blake's comments conveyed a sense of impatience and an apparent reluctance to acknowledge others' contributions. When reporters probed about Justin's methods or the overall filming process, her replies frequently strayed from the topic or came off with dismissive asides. Concerned by this shift in tone, longtime supporters began revisiting her past interviews, seeking to determine whether these unusual moments were mere products of stress or signs of a deeper, long-standing pattern. Their review revealed intermittent flashes of tension, instances marked by eye rolls.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of pretends to play with her. So in the beginning, our oldest is loving on her, and she's very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
The dismissal of co-stars, or a tendency to steer conversations toward her own image that had previously been overlooked or minimized. As media outlets began highlighting these behaviors, Blake claimed she was being intentionally maligned, specifically accusing Justin and his inner circle of orchestrating the smear. Tensions quickly escalated when a particularly assertive New York Times article appeared, portraying Justin as a domineering presence on set through the use of selectively chosen text exchanges. Almost immediately, neutral analysts and Justin's legal team noted several irregularities. Key lines were truncated or omitted, emojis were absent, and segments of the conversations appeared rearranged. These discrepancies fueled growing doubts that Blake's narrative might have been manipulated. Observers even began drawing parallels to other recent high-profile legal disputes, where similar tactics were employed, crafting a dominant public narrative before the opposing side could mount a full response. As the discussion evolved beyond a simple "they said, she said" narrative, industry insiders began to murmur that Blake's ambitions extended far beyond merely managing her public image. Rumor had it that she was determined to secure full creative control over It Ends With Us, from rewriting the script to influencing post-production decisions. Leaked messages appeared to show her enlisting her husband Ryan Reynolds and her friend Taylor Swift, allegedly threatening to wield their star power to pressure studio executives. Fans who once admired Blake as a relatable, down-to-earth performer were taken aback by hints suggesting she might view her famous colleagues as mere chess pieces in her bid for influence. The entire controversy began to take on the air of a backstage power struggle, one that might have seemed unbelievable if not for the cascade of messages and eyewitness accounts that lent it credibility. Justin's counter-releases methodically challenged Blake's version of events. One particularly damaging piece of evidence contradicted her claim that Justin had intruded into her trailer without permission while she was pumping milk for her child, a claim she portrayed as a grave personal violation. However, later text exchanges revealed that she had actually invited him over, even joking about the timing. In these messages, Justin's responses clearly indicated his discomfort with the situation and his willingness to reschedule. This evidence painted an entirely different picture. Rather than a forced intrusion, it was a visit that Blake had willingly arranged. The gap between her initial statements and the documented facts significantly undermined her account, casting doubt on other aspects of her narrative.
I was like making I don't know, juice with there was this maple water on set, and I was like, oh, water tapped from a maple tree. This is exciting. But instead of just handing him a plastic red cup that I was drinking out of, I went and got the martini glass, a crystal glass, and shook it up for him properly, because you can't hand that man a red cup.
No.
And so he's standing on a dock with mud around, and he's holding a crystal martini glass. And it was just juice and maple water.
A similar pattern emerged in her comments about producer Jamie Heath. Blake claimed that Jamie had shown her footage that bordered on being inappropriate, suggesting it was an unwelcome breach of her comfort. However, those who had seen the clip described it as a private recording of Jamie's wife giving birth, intended as a realistic reference for a birth scene, rather than an explicit or sensational display. This stark difference between Blake's depiction and the actual context once again cast doubts on her credibility. Another major point of contention was Blake's apparent effort to override Justin's creative authority. Despite Justin's pivotal role, having written, directed, and been instrumental in shaping the project, leaked notes indicated that Blake was pushing to have final approval over the daily footage, and was even planning her own edits. She reportedly hinted that if her demands weren't met, she would pull out of promotional events, effectively holding a key element of the film's success hostage. Some insiders even recounted that at the movie's premiere, she and Ryan requested that Justin and his family be kept in a separate area, an unusual and conspicuous move, given Justin's directorial status. These incidents went well beyond mere creative disagreements, revealing a deeper underlying tension that extended far past ordinary artistic disputes. Blake further alleged that Justin had fixated on her postpartum figure, claiming he made belittling comments about her body. Rumors even emerged that Ryan had privately confronted Justin, insisting he show respect for his wife. While such remarks, especially regarding a new mother's appearance, could certainly provoke strong reactions, deeper investigation told a different story. It turned out that Justin suffers from chronic back pain and needed accurate weight estimates to safely plan certain lifting scenes. Text messages and internal communications confirmed that his inquiries were driven by genuine safety concerns rather than an unhealthy obsession with her appearance. In addition, on-set accounts noted that Justin had praised Blake's dedication during a time when she was still dealing with the physical and emotional challenges of postpartum recovery, further calling her claims into question. Another twist in the controversy involved Blake's legal argument about the absence of an intimacy coordinator. She contended that Justin had forced unplanned close contact scenes on her. However, interviews she gave prior to any legal filings showed her commending the production's commitment to safe practices.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
She even joked about her role in choreographing the romantic sequences. Behind-the-scenes footage reinforced this perspective, capturing relaxed, open conversations between Blake and Justin, where neither appeared upset or confused. In one dance scene she later labeled as uncomfortable, the two were simply engaged in casual, mundane banter. Even the disputed phrase, "It smells so good," which Blake had suggested was unsettling, seemed far less charged when viewed in its full context, possibly referring to the set's ambiance, or even her own fragrance. Beyond the specifics of her allegations, the style and structure of Blake's legal complaint have also come under close scrutiny. In her filing, she touched on a range of sensitive issues, from personal respect and maternal privacy to workplace decorum, topics that resonate deeply with many. Yet when compared to the more amiable tone of her private exchanges, the discrepancy is hard to miss. Rumors began to circulate that she had underestimated the likelihood of her texts, audio recordings, and behind-the-scenes footage becoming public, resulting in a narrative that didn't hold up once the complete context was revealed. The entire situation has evolved into a spectacle that Hollywood hasn't seen in years. Multiple studios are now rethinking potential deals with Blake, wary of the risks involved in aligning with someone whose credibility is being so fiercely questioned. Once celebrated as a dependable headliner known for her impeccable style and star power, her formerly untouchable image is now fracturing under the weight of these revelations. Meanwhile, Justin, who appears to have been unwillingly thrust into this legal battle, is receiving an outpouring of public sympathy and support, a stark contrast to the contentious narrative laid out by Blake. The irony is that in her attempts to control the narrative, she may have inadvertently given Justin Baldoni an even larger platform. While the situation has undoubtedly been stressful for him, it has also allowed him to showcase his openness. Every contradictory text exchange or video clip that emerges, reinforcing his account, only serves to boost his credibility in the eyes of the public. In an unexpected twist, what could have been just another PR spat has instead become a potential turning point in Justin's career.
Oh, it's so hard. I mean, look, first of all, being a director is a very lonely job and there's a lot of pressure. And I think the only way that I got through it is I just surrounded myself with people that were so much smarter than me. As it relates to the acting part, it's a heavy load to carry. I wanted to do as much justice as I could to survivors by making Ryle as truthful as possible,
propelling his visibility far beyond what the film might have achieved on its own. In the unforgiving landscape of today's digital celebrity culture, even the most carefully maintained public image can unravel in an instant. What was once a tightly controlled narrative, managed through selective interviews and curated public appearances, can now be dismantled by a single leaked message, an offhand remark caught on camera, or an unearthed contradiction. The power dynamic has shifted dramatically. Stars no longer hold exclusive control over their own stories. In the past, celebrities had more room to craft their personas through carefully worded statements and strategic press interactions. Reputation management was a more controlled process, where the timing of interviews and the release of information could shape public perception. However, the rise of social media, digital archives, and real-time leaks has stripped away much of that control. Today, a single screenshot can expose discrepancies, a secretly recorded conversation can go viral, and a private exchange can be dissected by millions. There is no pause button, no behind-the-scenes damage control that can prevent a misstep from becoming a global talking point. For public figures who have built their careers on a meticulously curated image, the risks have never been greater. The gap between their public persona and their private actions must be nearly non-existent, because any inconsistency, no matter how small, can be magnified, analyzed, and turned into a headline that dominates news cycles. A narrative that once took years to establish can crumble overnight if the reality behind it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. This unfolding situation serves as a sobering reminder. In an era where nothing stays hidden for long, authenticity isn't just an asset, it's a necessity. When the carefully polished exterior clashes too starkly with the truth, the fallout can be swift and unforgiving. The speed at which a brand can collapse in today's digital world is breathtaking. And for those who miscalculate their ability to control the narrative, the consequences can be both career-altering and permanent. From the sidelines, the industry is preparing for what may come next. It's unclear whether Blake will choose to acknowledge any missteps or continue defending her actions. She might adopt a more conciliatory stance, admitting to any exaggerations or supplying additional context, or she could reinforce her current position, potentially inviting even more scrutiny. Production companies, streaming platforms, and future collaborators are left wondering whether aligning themselves with her brand is worth the possible complications, a situation that no one in show business finds enviable. Should the dispute escalate into a fully public trial, with testimonies, depositions, and face-to-face cross-examinations, the outcomes could be irreversible. In such a courtroom setting, crafting a narrative becomes far more challenging. Judges and juries rely on hard, verifiable facts, rather than the influence of social media or selectively edited articles. Every piece of unfiltered evidence would be exposed for both public and professional examination.
I think most actors' dream is to be able to do a period piece film, but I got to do an every period piece film because this dates back to 1908 till now. So to explore the different decades, the fashion, the hair and makeup, and just how women were treated in each of those different eras.
If further contradictions come to light, the ensuing ripple effect could be truly devastating. For longtime fans of Blake, these developments are especially disconcerting. Once celebrated for her approachable charm and wit, she now finds herself entangled in controversies, suggesting she may have exaggerated or even fabricated certain details. Even a casual glance at the headlines makes it clear that this situation has escalated far beyond a routine industry dispute. Whether it concludes with a legal settlement or evolves into a protracted battle, the repercussions for Blake's career and for those associated with her, are likely to be significant and long-lasting. Meanwhile, as the controversies unfold, Justin Baldoni finds himself cast into an unlikely spotlight, with his own reputation hanging in the balance. Yet, paradoxically, each new piece of evidence refuting Blake's claims appears to bolster his standing. In an odd twist, the film he directed may draw an even larger audience, purely from public curiosity about what truly occurred behind the scenes. It's a peculiar hallmark of modern media. The scandal intended to diminish one person might instead elevate another, offering them a surge of momentum they never anticipated. It appears this story won't simply fade away anytime soon. Too many threads remain unresolved, and the leaks suggest more revelations may be on the horizon. Meanwhile, prominent industry players seem determined to make every piece of evidence public. If Blake intended to rely on a few curated messages as the definitive account, that plan seems to have faltered. Her remaining options are either to continue pushing a narrative that fewer people trust, or to pivot and accept some degree of responsibility. Though, given how far this has escalated, even that carries significant risk. In the high-stakes, image-conscious world of Hollywood, few stars emerge from a scandal of this size entirely unscathed. Even if she sidesteps a complete downfall, the remnants of this dispute, clips of her interviews, text messages, and colleagues' statements, will linger in the public sphere. For someone once perched atop best-dressed lists and celebrated by lifestyle media, the shift from glowing features to looming legal battles and online exposés is dramatic. Whether the story can be turned around now is anyone's guess, but it's clear she faces a difficult path forward. Here stands Blake Lively, at a career-defining crossroads. As new documents and testimony emerge, the once radiant star finds herself tethered to a scandal that grows more intricate by the day. In the digital era, there's little room to bury inconsistencies, and her mounting anxiety is evident in the increasingly urgent efforts to maintain a cohesive story, despite contradictory details. Whether she paves a road to redemption or becomes a cautionary tale will hinge on the choices she makes next, the truth she discloses, the evidence she confronts, real or otherwise, and how she grapples with it. For now, the world looks on, waiting to see if Blake can restore stability to this spiraling situation, or continues to struggle beneath revelations she may never have anticipated would come to light.